There's a quiet power living in Alberta right now. You have it, so do I. It's the power of where you save your money. Keeping your money at ATB means we can create loans for the people, places, and businesses that make Alberta, Alberta. Talk to ATB about the Amplified GIC for business with a rising rate and flexible cashability. Get your money working for you. And Alberta, too. ATB listens.
Blog Talk Radio.
Well, good morning, Divas. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is the Divas That Care Network, and my name is Candace Gish, and I'm the host of this show. So for any of you that have just tuned in for the very first time today, our show has now been running for 8 years, and we're so excited and honored whenever we get a brand new diva to our show, and today I'm going to be introducing a brand new one to you. For any of you that are, as I said, was just tuning in, make sure that you check out all of our recorded calls at thedivasthatcare.com, and you can check out our other hosts that have programs, and I know that you're going to love them. But getting back to today's show, oh my goodness, ladies, you're going to be loving this one. We have, as I said, a brand new diva. She is an author, and she's going to be talking about a brand new book that she has coming out right away here. And we're going to be talking about that and some of the causes that are important to her. So Janet McLaughlin, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Candace. It's my pleasure to be here.
Well, we're excited to have you, Janet. And could you just take a couple of minutes to introduce yourself to all of our listeners today? Tell us a little bit about who you are.
Sure. I am an author, obviously, a mother, a grandmother, a person who loves to read and write and meet people. And I've been doing this for, I'm not going to tell you how long, just to say a long time. And it's just, it's an exciting thing to be able to write. I write for children. I write teen novels, middle grade novels, and it's very exciting to be able to influence young minds, hopefully for the good, and to introduce them to concepts that they may not be aware of, or in some instances to even make them feel comfortable in their own skin because they feel that maybe they're unique or different and maybe not accepted. And I'm hoping that my books help them feel like they're not out there all alone. So that's pretty much where I come from as far as my writing goes for kids.
Well, I love it. And as any of our listeners if they know me, I have 4 daughters under the age of, my oldest is going to be 16 here next week. Oh my goodness. But, they're all under 16, and I'm excited because it's one of those things that we're always looking for books for them because they are huge readers. And to know that there is amazing women like yourself that are putting books out there to, almost to enlighten their minds. It's such a great thing. And, they say that right now it's the biggest market right now is young readers. And it's nice to be able to talk to somebody like you.
Well, yeah, and I am available. I'm available to do that. I would love to do more school visits and things of that sort, just to let kids know that there's a voice. There's actually many voices out there speaking to and for them. And I know a lot of authors for children's books. Obviously, it's kind of its own group, and we intermingle. There's organizations. I have a critique group that there's 5 of us that we help each other with our writings and things like that. And there's some phenomenal writers out there. And it's exciting to be a part of them. And there's a lot of them that make school visits. And I think these things really speak to the kids. They get an opportunity to talk to the authors. There's book fairs. There's all kinds of things. And I think it's really important that these children have an opportunity to have a one-on-one or a group-on-one, if you will, relationship with an author and ask them the questions they want to ask and, feel a part of it. So I really enjoy that part of it. And
I think
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. What a great thing
I'm looking forward to, I guess, we didn't mention the thrust of my newest book, and I'm sure you're going to get to that, so maybe I'll jump in there. My newest book is called Different, and it's about a little girl with Tourette syndrome, and there's not much known about that disorder, and I'm very excited about getting that information out there so that these kids are looked at as normal. They just have a little quirk here and there, but essentially they're just normal kids.
Well, and I think we're gonna be diving right into that right now, because this is a book that is written for a child to learn about another child, or tell us a little bit about this book and how our listeners can, get really involved in it.
It's really funny. I wrote it for children so that the child with Tourette's feels more comfortable, that the classroom that has a child with Tourette's in it, or a child that is, quote, different, quote, feels more comfortable with them. And I think children are more adaptable and acceptable to that sort of thing. But I also wrote it to help teachers understand better what these children are going through. So it's kind of written for children to read, but also in the back of my mind for the adult to understand, because I have joined several Facebook online, organizations that are support groups for parents with Tourette syndrome. And I can't tell you how often I read that one of the major concerns of these parents are that teachers just don't get it. That even if they hand them pamphlets or talk to them about it, the child, blurts out in class, or the handwriting is not what it should be, or they can't seem to stay focused, and the teacher gets very frustrated, not understanding the child has no control over this. So I'm hoping that reading this book, if the parents gives it to the teacher, and the teacher can read it at a gut level, where they see what the child is literally feeling, going through, how embarrassed they are, how upset they are, how they wish they could control it, but they can't. Maybe then there will be more sympathy and more understanding. And also, there are even parents out there, more the male, the father than the mother. The mother almost always is sympathetic, but sometimes the father doesn't get it, or the grandparents don't get it, or the aunt or uncle don't get it, or the friend doesn't get it. And this is another way for them, again, to see at the gut level what these kids are going through, and then maybe be more empathetic and less judgmental. Does that make sense to you?
It does, and I absolutely love the way that you're going about it. I think that having it at that, being able to do that and portray that, I think it's very, it's absolutely wonderful. And I do hope that in the future that maybe more books are written similar to how you've written this for other disabilities, for other things for children, because I think it is important. I think it's important to get the awareness out there, and how, to have a better understanding.
That's the idea. I hope it works. I hope it gets through to them. I mean, I'm coming. It's funny. I would obviously never have written this book if I didn't have a personal connection with it. I think it takes personal connection, personal awareness, for people to get that, to understand it, so that they can explain it to other people in a way that hopefully, even if they don't have a personal connection, I'm hoping that this book will be that personal connection. I mean, I have 2 grandchildren that had Tourette syndrome, and when they were first diagnosed, it was gut-wrenching, truly gut-wrenching. I remember talking to somebody about it and breaking out in tears. I do not cry easily. So it was a surprise even to me that I had that deep a reaction to it. And being an author, being a writer, I knew I wanted to do something about it, but I also knew I needed distance. The children, they were children when they were diagnosed. One was 5, and the other was diagnosed a little earlier because we knew what to look for. And I watched as they were making sounds out loud in public places and then drawing into themselves because they were so embarrassed because they couldn't control it. And they thought that everybody was looking at them and judging them and this sort of thing. And it was devastating for my daughter, for me, for my husband. I mean, we internalized it. And then I just observed. I was there when they needed, my house was kind of the place to go, calm after the storm, because along with the outer things that go with Tourette's, you have to be diagnosed with a vocal tic and with a physical tic. But also there are underlying disorders that go with it. And my grandchildren were also not necessarily diagnosed, but it was so obvious, with obsessive compulsive disorder and anxiety, and one of them had rage, and that's just uncontrollable outbursts. And then afterwards, sometimes there were holes in the wall kind of thing, and then afterwards there was such feeling of remorse because they couldn't control it. So sometimes they would just come here, give the family a chance to calm down, give them a chance to calm down. So all of this is a part of Tourette's. And it took me, quite honestly, 15 years before I was emotionally calm enough and distanced from it to actually write this book. My granddaughter's now 21. One of them is 18 and one's 21. And I needed that distance. And so when I was finished writing it, it was such a relief for me to have been able to do this, to get it down on paper, to get it out of me and out to the public, and then hopefully have it be something that would do good in the world. It's really all I cared about.
Oh, well, I think what you're doing is absolutely beautiful and applaud worthy, because I think that it's the heart and the intention and putting everything into it. That awareness is such a big thing. And I think in today's, we're really trying to get that awareness out. And I really like that. I know we do have a lot of teachers that do tune into our program. So I'm excited to have you on because of that reason. And I hope that they're able to connect with you on that level. And I do want to talk about, because it's something that is brought up quite a bit in our show, and I'm going to kind of back away from this, is how did you become a writer? How did you decide that this was going to be your passion, that you wanted to use your words to, obviously to inspire others, but just use your words in general?
Oh my gosh. You're asking me to go back a far, 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 far time. Once upon a time and long ago, I was in 8th grade, actually between 7th and 8th grade, and I went to a Catholic school. And they had a summer program, which was really unusual at the time, because back then they didn't do these things. But anyway, they had a summer program where we came in and we wrote stories, etc. And I so vividly remember this nun saying to me, "This is really good, I think. You might have a career in writing," or something like that, And I guess that always stuck with me, but I really didn't start writing until I started my own business with another woman, and my kids were then in grade school, and it was kind of like a PR firm, and we put out a newsletter, and I started writing, and I did all the writing for it, and I really, really enjoyed it. And then my husband and I started our own publications. And initially, I did all the writing for it until it was going strong enough that I could hire people and editors, et cetera, et cetera. So all of this was giving me background and confidence to start writing. And then this gentleman asked me if I would edit this health book for him, and it was a very complicated book. He's German-born. And his natural syntax was, throw mama from the train, a kiss kind of. And so the entire, So the entire book had to be rewritten so that it was in the kind of syntax that an American could understand. And then on top of that, it was very scientific. It took me 9 months with him sitting beside me to get that book done. But it gave me the confidence that maybe I could write my own book. So I always wanted to write for children. In the back of my head, it was there. And I searched the internet and found this organization called Society for Children's Book Writers and Illustrators. It's an international society. It's an awesome group that help writers of children's and illustrators of children's literature with all kinds of seminars internationally. I live in Florida, and Florida has a wonderful regional group. And then I met other writers and got into critique groups and wrote some really bad novels that were a great education for me. And then finally, understanding my craft and improving it, et cetera, wrote a couple of, I call them tween novels. I love paranormal and things like that, and these are easy to read for younger readers or for the reluctant older readers about a young girl that is a young woman, a teen that is psychic. And I truly believe that disability is there, so it's not something I made up. I have in writing and having the magazines that my husband and I had in our business, I interviewed several people who were intuitives in this area, and they're very, very genuine, wonderful women. So I had that background to help me with it, and it was wonderful fun writing. And then found this incredible publisher, Absolute Love Publishing, that is run by wonderful women, and there's 3 women. The publisher, the editor, and the publicist that work together, and they're just amazing women, and they took me under their wing and published my books, and the rest is history. I just have to give a lot of credit and thank you to Absolute Love Publishing, because they recognized my genius. What can I say?
Yes, and they are amazing publishing, and they're wonderful women. Yes, love them.
And they truly are. They truly are.
Yeah.
I appreciate them very much.
Oh, wow.
So that's my story. I'm sticking with it.
Well, we love your story.
It is a little complicated it's a little complicated and convoluted, but I lived many years, so it worked.
It's all awesome. So, Janet, when does Different come out? Is it already out at bookstores?
Oh, yes.
Or is it coming? Okay.
It's available. It was initially published in September. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it in Barnes & Noble. You can get it on many online outlets. You can order it from AbsoluteLovePublishing.com. They have a bookstore. And if you went to a brick and mortar store and asked for it, they could order it for you as well. So it's available. It's and I'm thinking that I should have asked them this, but I can't imagine they wouldn't do it. That if a teacher wanted me to come for a school visit or to do a Skype visit, and they wanted books for their students, I would imagine if they contacted Absolute Love Publishing for a quantity book discount, I can't imagine they wouldn't get it. I hope you don't mind that, Caroline, but I can't imagine they wouldn't get it.
Well, we're excited, and we'll be posting. I'm sure that she probably would too. And we're going to be posting all this information on all of our social media too, just so that we get more listeners for this. Because I know that a lot of our listeners, what they do, all of you amazing women, you do forward these shows on, and I know that, as Janet was saying, that she would love to, work with teachers, work with people, talk about her amazing book. And I know that there's probably quite a few opportunities out there for you, Janet. So the question that I have now is that, do you do public speaking? Do you go to events? I know that there's a lot of, within the Divas That Care network, there's a lot of networking that does take place. is this something that you'd be wanting to do, is to speak in an event?
Absolutely. I would be delighted. I'm not, as you can tell, I'm not shy. And I love talking about the subject matter, and I love sharing. And anything I can do to help people understand Tourette syndrome and how impactful it is on families, et cetera. And also, by extension, any neurological disorder or physical disorder or anything where a child feels they're different, if it can help making them, less judgmental. And, in the end, Izzy, the character in my book, comes to the conclusion everybody's different. Everybody has issues. It's just that with Tourette syndrome or some other neurological issues or physical issues, it's visible. You can see it. But, the child that's abused at home or that has any kind of, that's lost a parent or whose parents are divorced or whatever, and they have internalized these issues that make them concerned or frightened or turn into themselves. They all are, in a sense, different. Everybody has issues. So maybe we can be more open and more sympathetic and less judgmental if we come to this realization that you don't look at somebody and see something and just say, oh, they're bad or whatever. I don't know if I'm making sense, but that's
you make
how I
absolute sense, Janet, and I love this. And I'm looking forward to getting a copy of this book also, because I think it's really important to just read it to your children or have them read it anyways, because, you're exactly right. You don't know who is going through things because unless it's on the outside, we don't know. And then we want the children to realize that, we all, and you're right, we are all different. We all have things that have made us unique and special. And we should embrace that. So I think what you've done and what you're doing out there is absolutely brilliant. And I look forward to sharing it with the Divas That Care Network and everybody out there.
Thank you, Candace. I really appreciate you giving me this opportunity. And I'm happy to spread the word. If people want speakers, I'm available.
Well, that is exciting. And we will be posting that on the Changemakers Cafe, ladies. So stay tuned for that information. And Janet, thank you so much for being my guest today. I really loved getting to know you. I love what you are doing and what I think you're going to be doing in the future. So this is brilliant. Thank you so much. I hope that you come back on our show again.
I'd love to. Thanks, Candace. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. And thank you to all of our amazing listeners today. It's because of you that we continue to do this show for 8 years now. We love you. We thank you. You guys are passionate, and we think that all of you are really supportive of our guests. So make sure that you take this call and you send it to your friends and family. Talk about the book. Share the book ideas to all your friends and family, because I really think that they're going to love it. And I hope that each and every one of you has an amazing day. And until next time, we will talk to you guys later. Make sure that you do something kind for somebody else today. Bye-bye, everybody.
In the community of the orchards, the flowers and tree-lined streets have the honeybees buzzing. And you'll be buzzing over the brilliant selection, from townhouses to single-family homes. Get a full taste at theorchards.ca. Brookfield Residential, the best places to call home.